Hello and welcome to Ibby's Digital Nomad Stories, featuring real conversations with professionals who've cracked the code to sustainable nomadic lifestyles. These people aren't beach and Wi Fi chasers, they're building competitive advantages that traditional employment could never match. Global mobility, income diversification, and the freedom to capitalize on opportunities anywhere. I'm Ibi Malik, your favorite digital nomad consultant, and today I'm joined on the show by Khurana, someone who treats his entire life as a series of experiments, including the experiment of having a normal life. 2 years ago, the timing was right for Ab to settle, so he signed a lease in San Diego, built a routine, joined sports leagues, all the normal stuff. Then, 2 years later, he decided that the time was right to leave. So he simply left. Some people would call it a success, some people would call it a failure. Who knows? Ab just calls them both data. See, he doesn't theorize about what he wants. He runs experiments and observes the results. His framework: try 10 things. You'll love 3, you'll hate 3, you'll feel neutral about 4, but only once you've actually tried them, not just imagined them. You'll know what you want to orient your life around. Ab's already collected a lot of data. Machu Picchu, an erupting volcano in Guatemala, scuba diving certifications despite being afraid of water somehow, being a tourist in a country where he spent his first 13 years, and he's got a lot more data to collect. In the Galapagos and a safari in Africa, spending a month on a farm with WWOOF. See, this is a masterclass in empirical living. When you stop predicting how you'll feel and start collecting evidence, you'll simply stop wondering what you've missed, and you'll simply start knowing what matters. Here's Ab. So how long have you been a nomad?
In total, about 2.5 years or so, but in two stints. So I did about a year, and then the last year and a half. So yeah, I took a little break of
Why?
So the first year that I did it, I'd been wanting to do it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And like a confluence of factors worked out well to allow me to do it. Did it for a year. I think at the end of that year, I was starting to feel that, okay, maybe I want some of those advantages that come with living in one city and a little bit of a stable thing.
Like having somewhere to put your bag.
Yeah, somewhere to put your bag, having the same, coffee mug or stein that you can use every time.
Can we show Nisha the stein?
Oh, the stein. You got to see the stein. It's empty now, but
Isn't it beautiful?
I assure you there was coffee in this and not...
I can kind of see a bit in there.
Not Guinness, yeah. But, yeah, and also one of my friends who I've been friends with for a long time, 15 years or so, we both were thinking about moving to San Diego around the same time. So felt like a good time to live in a city, explore a new city, date normally, have a bit of a routine, have your expanding community of friends, and see how that went for a couple of years.
And this sounds like an experiment. What did it yield?
Yeah, it's funny to call it an experiment because to most people that's just life.
That's just normal thing.
It's just, hey, get a lease and let's live here.
Yeah, you're right.
So it is kind of funny. You've been interviewing too many nomads.
Yeah, I know.
Getting a lease and living in a city sounds like an experiment.
It's like, what? Who does that?
It's like you sound like a hunter-gatherer or something. Like who actually pitches a tent and stays there for 2 years? But
okay, the normal thing that people do. How does it feel? Just remind me.
No, it was great. I mean, San Diego's a beautiful city. I really, I learned that, okay, I very much am a beach sun type of person, which is what most people kind of are when they are exposed to it.
Yeah.
And it was a good mix of some people moved there or lived there that I have known for a while. Mm. But also when you move to a city as an adult, you have to make an effort if you want to make new friends or do interesting things. So in that year of travel, I was doing things that were pretty interesting to me. And I didn't want to give that approach and that lifestyle up necessarily or completely. So my version of that doing in San Diego was still, being pretty active with meeting people, signing up for sports leagues or doing random activities that are new to me. And yeah, just staying open to meeting people.
And but how did it go? Like, did you feel content?
Yeah, it was great.
Then why did you leave?
Well, I wanted to be a nomad again. There were some places that I wanted to travel and see, and certain experiences that I've gotten to do in the last year and a half that have been, pretty exciting and fulfilling.
So was it like you did this like the normal thing?
Yeah.
The not weird thing, the not experiment.
Yeah, not the experiment, the control group, really.
Yeah. And then you were like, yeah, it's great, but
yes,
I want to do something else.
Yes, I want to do something else. I wasn't in, again, the mix of factors was I'd been there for 2 years, and I wasn't in a long-term relationship, so I had some freedom to pick my destinations. I had a roommate there, so we both moved out. He got his own place, and I figured that I'm just going to put my things in a storage unit. My job is still remote, and I'm going to kind of just take advantage of the situation while I'm still, in my early 30s or mid 30s. I feel like it gets harder to do. Depends on your goals for life, but if you are going to potentially have a family, or potentially be in a long-term relationship, it makes it a little harder.
That's the third time you've said long-term relationship or family. You said long-term relationship about what was holding or could have held you back from leaving.
Yeah.
And in the longer term, you could have a long-term relationship or start a family.
Sure.
How does that link in to your nomadic journey? Is that like your main consideration?
It's it's not the main. The main consideration is new experiences that I think in the long term have proven to bring me this sense of just contentment. Like I know that now, having done a few things or experienced a few things that were a little scary, a little new, or just things that the 12-year-old me really wanted to do. And having done some of those things, like I know for a fact that that is worth it. Like it's worth pursuing that. And that can mean something wildly different for different people. Whatever your version of, hey, what are the little fears that are holding me back, or what are the little 12, 10-year-old me's dreams were, and making those happen or trying to make them happen is worth it. And for me, a version of that has been what is possible through travel.
Are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yeah. Generally.
It actually brings that to mind. Have I ever talked about Maslow on the podcast? No? I don't think so.
Oh, the first Maslow.
Yeah, the first Maslow.
Maslow. People love talking about
People
Maslow.
talk about him all the time,
It's a
right?
fun little triangle.
Yeah.
People confuse it with the food pyramid sometimes.
You know why it's in my mind? Because my sister was here.
Yeah.
You met her.
Yeah.
And
Solid percussionist.
Solid percussionist,
Yeah.
she is. She was my first student. I'm proud of her. Anyway, she was asking me some questions about like life trajectory, what you want to do in life, where you want to go.
Because she's a teenager, right?
Because she's a teenager.
Yeah.
And she was like, how do I even think about life? And I was like, go and look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Okay. What led you to say that? Or what were you thinking?
Because she was like, where do I start? She was like, do I focus on making money? Do I focus on finding a relationship? Do I focus on learning an instrument or a language or something?
Yeah.
Like, you can kind of do any of them when you are covered by your parents and you're living at home.
Yeah.
There's nothing driving you to do one.
Yeah.
For example, if you're living by yourself and you don't have money, you're naturally going to be driving to get money. It's like your first stage, right?
Yeah.
But for her, it was different. So we were talking about, you could spend time doing piano or guitar right now. If you wanted to, you could spend 5 years. It doesn't matter because you're free. So do you think in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the little fears that you're facing and the little challenges you're overcoming and the little things you're doing are part of your self-actualization?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's an element of the relationship thing coming in there that's being fed through other ways, perhaps? Because I have my own thoughts on that, but we can talk about that after.
Fed through other ways. What do you mean?
Okay, we can talk about it now. So that layer is about community, family, and friends.
Yeah.
And so the way I was thinking about it originally when I was younger was that it had to be fed through, relationship, like family level, but your significant other.
Yeah.
Right. And then I started traveling and I started realizing you can sometimes struggle when you don't have that significant other.
Okay.
Because there's nothing to fulfill that layer.
Yeah.
I wasn't super calling my family all the time. I wasn't traveling with any friends. I was making new friends, but it was all superficial because I was leaving. And my community, or the community that I was talking to, I would have to reestablish myself every time. Like before I got to a place, nobody would know a single thing about me. So as soon as I rocked up there, I would have to do all of the work of rebuilding from step one, which was effort.
It is.
But then I kind of solved it through firstly staying in a community, even if that community is international. Okay. So for example, starting to embed myself in the international community of digital nomads. And so I started meeting people again and again. So when I would go places, it was like I wasn't just by myself. There would be someone who I knew.
Yeah.
I started traveling more slowly because the slower you travel, the longer you can build relationships.
Yeah.
And I started trying to call people and text people more often. I usually had a 2-week minimum period where it would take me to reply to someone.
Really? Okay.
Now I try and reply much faster. I'm not going to commit to anything on call. But it's not 2 weeks anymore, guys.
Yeah, if you're not getting a reply from Ibby in 2 weeks, take that as a sign.
You will never get a reply.
Yeah, you may never get a reply. No, that's interesting because there's a few things you mentioned. You're mentioning one piece is realizing that when you're traveling or constantly on the move, you can only get a layer deep in most relationships.
Yep.
And granted, oftentimes when I think travelers meet each other, on average, they tend to be more open and unguarded. At least that's what I've noticed.
I can see that.
There's I think each individual is not in their kind of whatever role they play back home with their friends and families or their city. They're kind of whatever they want to be.
Independent or
a little
untethered.
Loose, a little untethered, yeah. So I think on average, people are more open. So you might know somebody for a month, but it could feel like you've known them for at least, let's say, a few months or longer. There's also a higher frequency of interaction in that, let's say, month. But I agree with you, though. You only get a layer deep, and then you're going somewhere else, and you're maybe doing it all over again. But then you also mentioned you're just prioritizing existing relationships more, or deepening existing relationships. So that was going to be related to my response, but like what led you to do that? Is it the novelty of travel wearing off and just finding like a longer term routine or something else?
I felt like something was missing.
Okay.
That's the real underlying cause, where I felt like there was some level of connection with people that I was missing. And it kind of forced me to think, okay, what options do I have?
Okay.
Because until you feel like something's, when you have a significant other, for example, you naturally think, oh, how can I strengthen my partnership with them?
Sure.
But when you don't, you naturally start thinking, okay, who can I strengthen my partnership with?
Right.
And then you start to look around and say, okay, who is in my life? And you think, okay, I've got my siblings, I've got my parents, I've got some friends who are they're doing some experiment, right? They've got leases and
Yeah.
oh wait, sorry,
Going out on a limb.
Yeah.
Really taking a risk there.
And then you've got the people who are traveling.
Sure.
And the reality is, for me, it's like an atom, like that bumps into another atom. The chance of me or Electron or whatever they are that bump into each other.
Yeah.
But the chance of me bumping into another...
Electrons are whizzing around, yeah.
It's them one's not.
In the nucleus, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Very
the electron. Yeah, it's the electrons in the nucleus. Are they atoms?
Wow, I'm getting into physics. I think the nucleus. This is from what I remember from high school. The nucleus has the protons and the neutrons,
And the
and
electrons.
then there's the electrons are
Ah.
whizzing around.
And that's all part of the atom.
I believe so.
So the atom does not whiz. The electrons whiz. But don't quote us.
So you had some whizzing energy. Is that
Okay,
what you're talking
wait. We can actually continue exactly this example. So think of an atom, right?
about? Yeah.
So the nucleus has the neutrons, right? And the neutrons are like the ones staying in their town, in their city.
Yeah.
And the electrons are the ones whizzing around. So the chance of an electron hitting a neutron is like 0. Because how does the electron hit the neutron?
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah.
But the chance of two travelers who are continuously traveling hitting each other in a place where they can travel regularly is much easier.
Yeah.
It's also more feasible, and it's also more pleasant, because when I have people who come and stay with me, or I see people on my travels, it's a bit different for them.
Okay.
Because they are on holiday and I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's their 1 week of vacation.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like my life.
Right.
So it's a harder crossover.
It is a harder crossover. I have also, it's definitely easier and fun when you're able to see the same travelers again in a different place, for example, whether it's by chance or volunteer, like planning. But at the same time, when in the same vein of strengthening or maintaining the strength of your existing relationships or close friendships, I definitely try to like hop on certain trips or plans that my friends make, because for them, let's say they may have an in-office job or they're crazy experimenters with a lease, and they're maybe taking 2 big vacations a year, plus you add on maybe 1 vacation a year because you add on things like weddings and all these things that take away holiday days. So anyway, if there's that one thing that they're doing and I can do it potentially because I get to travel with them,
You can hop on.
I'm more flexible, so I try to hop on. And that's been great too.
This must apply even more in the US. I'm just thinking about this.
Yeah.
Because of something you said about taking out weddings and stuff. Because a European, like a German, gets like 35 days of holiday.
Yeah, it's not the case in
It's
the
not
US.
the case, right?
No. We get either 15 days of paid time off or unlimited, which is really just 15-ish days. It's like whatever the culture is going to do is what unlimited will follow, basically. So, yeah, it's fewer days. So you got to plan around it a little bit more. Whereas, I work with European customers sometimes, and you get these like out of office emails like, yep, it's summer. My kids are out from school. We're on this camping trip in the mountains of Austria for 2 weeks. Like, don't even try get a hold of me. So it's a different culture a little bit.
Tell me about it.
You mentioned this thing untethered earlier.
Yeah.
And you're talking about some of the reasons that led you to want to strengthen existing relationships. I think if you're traveling, is Tetherball a game in the UK?
I know what it is, but it's not a game. Well,
I mean, if you take it seriously, maybe it's not a game to you, but
not
is it a
game to
sport
us.
that exists?
It's a sport that exists in the world. In the UK, we simply observe it from afar.
Interesting. Okay. It's just too much movement on that ball.
It's the one where you have like the thing in the middle and you hit it.
Yeah,
again, right?
yeah. There's like a pole.
Yeah.
There's a ball with a rope. You know, the
Yeah.
ball's attached to the pole with a rope, and you're spinning it around. And the idea is for two competing players to spin it in opposing directions, something like that.
Yeah, we play badminton or tennis. It's a bit more sophisticated.
You guys are, the British are more like, hey, we're going to sit here, have our tea break during a cricket match because we just value stability. Whereas the tetherball is very just chaotic compared to that. But the being tethered or feeling grounded, I think is really important. And you have to figure out what your version of that is. I think often, like you mentioned your sister earlier, like often family serves as that, that my baseline Maslow needs of what feels like home or my community is met. Therefore, I can do these kind of different experimental things because I know that even if I stray too far, like a tether ball that goes a little bit too far, it's not going to go away from where it is, the thing that's attached to. And those attachments of feeling like, you know, whatever your home is or whatever your identity is, doesn't have to be a lease. There's plenty of people out there with leases and relationships who feel like something's missing. So it's not necessarily that, but feeling grounded, you have to find what that is for you. Oftentimes, if you have a good, you know, you had good parents and you got lucky with that, or you have close friends and you got lucky with that, that's often a start of feeling like, okay, no matter what happens or where I go, there's certain people who I feel like really do love me and I love them and I can kind of count on that. I think that allows you to stray a little further rather than...
That's deep.
Rather than, you know, stray too far without feeling like, am I just doing this for the sake of it? Do I just want the novelty? Am I just kind of whizzing around looking for purpose? Or do I kind of know generally who I am and I like it, therefore I can do these things and be a little more like, I guess, do them more consciously rather than just flying away with the wind a little bit. That's kind of what brought to mind when you were talking about this.
How do you ground yourself?
It is, I got lucky with good parents who, you know, growing up, this was just my default world. So I didn't compare it to what maybe other upbringings were like. But when I was growing up as a child, I never doubted whether my mom or my parents loved me or not. I just knew that. That was like a baseline truth, which to me was just growing up with my family. But when I got older and kind of met a lot of different people, including friends back home or travelers, and you hear about people's different stories, that's not always the case. You have to get lucky to have good parents who make you feel like they love you no matter what's happening in the world or in their relationship. Like, you know, I'm sure they had their fair share of fights and arguments and whatnot. And very occasionally I would see it, but it was never something that would make me feel like, are my parents okay? Are they going to stay together? So that stability was there, that feeling. I think that goes a long way if you get lucky with that. I think outside of that, you can nurture that in yourself too. But I think it's a process that has to happen through experience, where if I was in your sister's shoes, for example, or a teenager's shoes, I would have to experiment with it. I would hope that I experiment with a bunch of things, whether it's what I want to study, hobbies I want to get into, the type of life I want to live. And you do enough experiments, and through, you know, empirical evidence, you find out that I've done these 10 things. It's not just ideas in my head. And I know that I love 3 of those 10 things. And I know that I hate 3 of those 10 things, and the rest I don't, I'm neutral. So then you can really orient yourself towards those 3 things you love, avoid the 3 things you hate, and the rest is kind of whatever. And I think that kind of makes you feel like, you know, no matter where I am in the world, I'm still that person who is oriented around these 3 things I love. That's kind of how I see it, I guess. But I don't know. What do you think about that idea? I guess it's an extrapolation of self-awareness, right?
I tell you what's interesting. I'll answer the question.
Yeah.
But first, what's interesting is where we started from on this topic chain, where we started on the relationship, we moved to family, and then we moved to this interesting concept of what grounds a person. And it's coming back to those three things, or to, those things that is important to that person.
Yeah.
I just find that interesting. In terms of the answer to the question, though, yeah, actually, I literally do have those things. For me, it's music and fire.
Music and fire.
Yep.
Sometimes together.
Sometimes together.
I've seen.
Yep. Honestly, I've always been grounded by music.
Okay.
It's been a very long and you could say almost a spiritual journey through music, where like I make music just to bring the sound into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Like an instrument is just a thing, right? Like a table.
Yeah.
But once you play something, you've brought something into existence.
That wasn't
It
there.
wasn't there before. And for me, that is the most amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of metaphorical of how I want to live my life, which is there's something that wasn't there before and now it's in existence, like a thought that wasn't there before, or a mystery which was not yet solved. And I did something to create something.
Yeah. And it's also highly unpredictable in a way. Sure, the sounds that are going to come out of an instrument when you tap it a certain way are somewhat predictable, but that ensemble of things that might happen on an evening of you with a couple instruments by the fire, it's hard to predict.
You can never predict it.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't like to predict it. Like having a set thing, scripted piece of music.
Yeah.
And fire, because fire has always been a part of my way of opening a door for something to happen. So, for example, when you have a fire, you could enjoy the warmth. You can cook. You can invite your friends. You can sit by yourself. You can play some music. It's kind of like the act of starting the fire is all you need to do in order for something to happen.
Sure.
And if nothing happens, you still had a fire.
You still had a fire. And each fire is like a snowflake where it's unique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you just have to start the little spark somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it grows. And you never know. Like, you might have an evening where you're playing music by the fire. You might have an evening where, I don't know, something weird happens.
There's a metaphor in here somewhere about how everyone's fire is also highly unique. And
Their inner fire.
they're in a fire. Well, inner fire, exactly. I thought you said they are in a fire. So I hope not. But they're inner fire, exactly. Yeah.
I don't want them to be in a fire.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah. But yeah, inner fire is it's quite a recipe for analysis, paralysis, and discontent, to be comparing your own desires to those of others, or your own kind of goals or dreams or intentions with those of others. I feel like I did plenty of that when I was young. And I'm glad I did, though, because after doing enough of that, you realize there are a few things I can learn or be inspired by, but ultimately you make yourself the person you want to be, and hopefully you make yourself the person who you like and are inspired by in a way. and just trust that whatever your inner fire or that kind of guiding gut feeling is, it's unique to you. So it's okay to trust it rather than seeking validation externally or from others.
To spark it.
And to spark it, yeah. And finding people that encourage that. Friends or relationship, doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah. Rare.
Okay, let's change tack a little bit. You have a corporate job.
I do.
You're one of them.
Can't you tell them these collars?
My God. Yes.
I don't even look this corporate at the office, actually. So
you've made a special effort.
A bit ironic, but yeah, I do have a corporate
just
job.
to remind the normies that you're still corporate.
Yeah, many people think I don't work, but yeah, I am employed.
So you're doing some kind of experiment? Oh, no.
No.
Okay. My question is, what do you think of AI?
What about it?
How is it affecting the way you work? Especially from a nomadic lens.
Okay.
You might say nothing. I just want to know.
Yeah. What I think of it is how I would think of any big cultural or technological wave that in retrospect is, written about in history books of, industrial revolution happened or this happened or that major invention that really leads to other subsequent changes in how we live and organize ourselves in a society. So it seems to be one of those things, especially with how quickly, every couple of months you hear, not even every couple of months, every few weeks, every sprint that is released, you hear X, Y, and Z new capability that wasn't there before. I'm a bit of a type of person who is good at adapting rather than taking reins of the wave and molding it to how I want it to be. So with AI, I kind of accept the power of the technology that's leading to this massive shift in right now how software jobs are done. But, pretty soon, like software touches a lot of things in physical things in the real world too. So that'll all be like a downstream effect. So it's interesting. It's seems to be the true impact long-term seems to be a little to be determined at the moment. But I guess what is concerning is that it's a very small group of people making major decisions for this outsized impact that this technology has. It's your OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, and maybe few other company leadership. U.S. government's involved in some ways now. And yeah, so it's a few people making decisions about what will impact anyone with, a cell phone or some version of computer technology. So it's hard to, I have to be optimistic that those decisions are made with a good conscience, but at the same time, that's the challenge of it, I think. In terms of how it impacts my nomad life or my nomad lens, not too much, actually. I mean, I use it for my job. But I'm currently at a larger company, so things change a little slowly at a larger company than they would at, for example, what I used to do at a 30-person company. You can try anything every day, right? You're encouraged to do that. So yeah, I use it, but I wouldn't say I'm at the forefront of using it. But that has more to do with, I'm not a tech founder. I don't have an interest to be in that. I'm not a software developer. So that's not what gets me like super excited. Like I'm not excited to wake up and say, what are the 10 new Claude workflows that I can create that are just generally fun to build? The people who are like that, they're having a good time, and you can hear about it on LinkedIn every day.
I don't post often on LinkedIn, but I wake up
But you're doing
every
some cool
morning
Yeah.
thinking that.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't just wake up in the morning. I wake up at night thinking about it.
Yeah. But that's a good signal. It's just like that creator in you wants to experiment, mess around, and that's actually a great spot to be in right now, to be that, of that mind.
I feel like there's a big, I feel quite woozy, actually. Like my eye is twitching like crazy.
Right now?
Right now. Because
I mentioned
so
Claude?
much coffee.
Okay.
And
I thought you were like, dude, you mentioned AI, and now I'm losing my bearings. Much is possible.
I'm so hot right now.
I'm the king of the world.
Sometimes it feels like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. No, it's fair. It's interesting because it's one thing that is very valuable to me about the nomad world is perspective and getting different perspective on things. And what you're saying is right. There are some people who are genuinely excited waking up in the morning thinking about it. Yeah. And you have to be very agile in order to do that.
Yeah.
In a bigger company, it is harder.
Sure. It also depends on who you are. I think it's people who are generally excited about experimenting with technology. It's not just that, AI came along and turned some person who was just uninterested to somebody who's a tinkerer all of a sudden. Like, you already kind of should be of that mind.
This is very true.
Yeah.
This is very true. Yeah. The people who were playing the game before AI are now just playing a different game.
Yeah, yeah. The question is, do you want to play the game, and which game do you want to play? And yeah.
So the question is, do we want to play the game, or which game do we want to play? So I guess, what is the next play in your nomad journey?
Damn, what a segue. This guy has killer segues. Everyone says that. The next play in the nomad journey is, so I mentioned before how there's just a few kind of canon or really exciting experiences that I've gotten to do in the last year and a half. Like, some examples would be like hiking the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. That's something I was always interested in and got to do.
Ooh, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, not cramping up or not getting injured during the hike, or just losing my shit at the sight of Machu Picchu either. But that was awesome. Seeing an active volcano and hiking up to that was pretty nuts.
Can imagine. Which volcano?
Volcan Acatenango in Guatemala. Yeah, apparently it's active every single day, and
scary.
Yeah.
Thrilling.
Exhilarating.
Exhilarating.
Yeah. I grew up scared of the water, or I guess a little scared of the water, but wasn't ever a good swimmer. Blah blah blah. But a few months ago, I learned how to scuba dive, got scuba certified, have gotten to go on a few dives since then. That's been pretty exciting. So there's a few more versions of this that I want to do in the near future before I can maybe be ready for another experiment and get a lease and do that again. So I think some of those would be, a couple would be just for the pure exploration part of it. Like, I'd love to go to the Galapagos Islands. Anything interesting about, or anything related to exotic wildlife is interesting and fun to me. So would like to go there now that I'm scuba certified. Maybe that opens up another little world of exploration there. Would love to go on some sort of a safari, whether it's in Kenya or South Africa or somewhere. And then there's other things that are a little less about just pure adventure. But adventure of a different kind. So I do want to spend a month or so doing the WWOOF program, if you probably heard about that.
What's a WWOOF?
WWOOF, Worldwide Organization of Organic Farmers, I believe. is what it stands for. But it's a program, basically, you can find farms, ranches, etc. And in exchange for your labor, you're getting room and board and getting to experience just a very different way of life. And I would like to do that in a French or Spanish speaking country so I can keep practicing those languages and kind of work my way towards close to fluency, I guess. And secondly, it's interesting to me because if you have a corporate job or a desk job, it's such a fundamentally different way of living that I enjoy the idea of it, and we'll see how it turns out. There seems to be a nice simplicity in, and you might agree with this because I see you chopping wood a lot around this chateau and starting fires and whatnot. There's something about doing things with your own hands or making things with your own hands that's not just on the screen. So anyway, want to do a month of woofing, as they call it.
Woofing?
Yeah. And I'm originally from India, so I want to spend extended time there. I grew up there for about 13 years before I moved here to the US, and I haven't been back since. So I have a desire to be a tourist in my own country, and I haven't seen a lot of parts of it.
Wow.
So a few of those things would be awesome if I get to do them pretty soon here.
That sounds like a good plan if I ever had one. Just nothing bad to say. Yeah. Man, I wish you really good luck. We're at time. So we'll call it there. But
sweet.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise.